In this lesson we're going to learn about how to read guitar music. Guitar music is called tablature, or tab for short. You'll often see on the music it says TAB down the left hand side. You'll see that in just a second when we start to look at things on screen. So the reason why it's a good idea to learn guitar music and tab is it means that you don't need to keep as much information in your head. And also, a little bit like learning to read as a child, it's going to be slow at first. It's going to take you a while to get this. But with repeated reading of passages, you're going to get faster. And eventually, you're going to be able to transfer what you know from reading the tab through your hands. But that will be a slow process. I'm not going to say that's going to happen instantly. Anyway, every long journey starts with just one step. So let's learn how to start reading guitar tab. So guitar tab is consisted of 6 lines. The 6 lines mean the 6 strings. So as we've learned when we in the tuning videos, we've learned that the 6 strings, Eddie 8, dynamite, good by Eddie. So those 6 lines indicate the 6 strings. Now the thing that is a little confusing about guitar tab when you first start is that the tab is upside down. So the string at the bottom of the tab is actually the string at the top of the guitar, the one pointing towards closest to your face. So the string at the bottom is the thickest string. The string at the top of the tab is the thinnest string. Now you're thinking, Drew, whoever devised this, are they deliberately stopping me from learning guitar? The reason is the string at the bottom has got the lowest sound, low. Can you hear that? The string at the top has got the highest sound, so that's why it's at the top of the guitar tablature. Okay? So that's the reason. Now, I'm going to put some tab on screen right now, and we're going to have a little zoom in on the right hand. So on screen at the moment is the thickest string, or the low E, the Eddie string. Now that is what it looks like written on guitar tablature. So there is 4 zeros written in a line. So you read it like reading a book from left to right. A 0 means you play that string with your plectrum. We'll get into that, and we'll get into holding a plectrum and things like that later on in the video. For now, it doesn't matter. We're just learning how to read tab. You play that string with a 0. That means not holding down anything with your fretting hand. Okay? So this is what's written down. 4 zeros. Now consequently, as I've said, this next part is the thinnest high E string, Eddie. So notice the 0 has moved from the bottom string to the top string, or the top line if you prefer. And this is what the thinnest high E string looks like. Okay, so it's back to front. Please remember that. So let's have a look at the next one. The next one is the A string. So this is the 8. So Eddie 8, second string down. Notice that the number has moved lines. The D string is next. So we move down with the plectrum. And this is where you're going to be getting used to sort of when you see the line move, you're going to be moving towards the floor or back up depending on. But that's going to feel a bit strange. There's the D string. The G string is next, so that's the 4th string down on the guitar. 4th line down on the tab, but counting from the bottom up. The B string, this is the 5th string down. Okay, so now you understand that if you see a number, be it a 0 or any other number up to 12, written on a line, it's not up to 12, it could be up to 21. It's telling us to play that string, either fretting a note or playing a 0 like we are now. So let's look at the idea of changing strings. Now this is your first little test really for this, for reading this. So you can see that the first string is on the thickest. You're then going past the A string, you're going 2 strings down from the bottom, and you're on the D string. Next string, thinnest, and then you're back to the D string. So if I were to play that fluidly, I'd be going, and it's absolutely fine for you to look down at your instrument. You can even tilt it slightly if you want to. Okay, so you can see, rather than just a whole line of strings, you can see a lot of strings. So just get used to playing that. Even if you don't have a plectrum in your hand, just use your thumb, get used to reading that. So that's the numbers changing strings, and they can go on any string they want. Next, the numbers becoming more than a zero. So this indicates frets. A fret on the guitar is this small piece of metal here. Can you see these? There's lots of frets on the guitar. They're attached to the neck of the instrument, and they're called frets. And what they do is they're there to tell us where to put our finger on our fretting hand, or our left hand, on the strings. So if we're looking for fret 1 would be here. Okay, this is fret number 1. Fret number 2, fret number 3, fret number 4, fret number 5, 6, 7, etc. So just learn to count the frets. Top tip here, get some masking tape and place it on the neck of the guitar and write the numbers on the top of the neck of the guitar. That will make it easier for you to navigate, especially when we start learning our first song. I'll remind you of that tip when we get into that song. So the numbers, getting back to this. Here's a little piece of music right now on the bottom of the screen. Number 3 is the first one. So that means, first of all, what string is that on? Ah, okay, it's on the thickest string because it's the string at the bottom. So the string closest to me. Number 3. So I'm going to press down number 3. Don't worry too much about pressing down. We're going to get into that soon in the next video. But just press it down. Say, right, number 3. Okay, so I play that one. Okay, so that's the tab red, number 3. Now, what number is it? Number 0 next. Okay, so that's, I'm going to let go and I'm going to play the same string again. And then 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay, got this. And then a 0 again. So that little piece of music is 3, 0, 5, 0. Okay, you don't have to play it that fast, obviously, but that's reading guitar tab. So now let's sort of put that all together. Let's go for numbers greater than 0 and changing strings. So I'm going to play this one through. So we've got 3 on the thickest string. We've then got a 0, but notice it's changed lines. So it's on the next line down. So that's an open A. Then 2nd fret on the open A. And then skipping down, not to the D string, but the 4th string down the G string. Okay, so that is the basics of reading tab where there is individual notes. Now finally, the last thing we're going to learn about is sometimes you'll see 2 numbers on top of each other, just like in the underneath right now, so you can see that on the tab. So there's a 0 and a 2, but they're on top. They're not separate, okay? So this means what you do is you play those 2 strings at the same time, or you strum them, okay? Or you pinch them. You'll learn what that means. So a strum, so what we're going to do is we're going to play that one that's written down. So first of all, you can see there's a 0 on the A string. Okay, so it's not the A string, it's the 3rd string down, the D string on the 2nd fret. So I'm going to hold that one down. I don't need to hold down the 0. And I'm going to strum those 2 strings together like this. Or if you're using your thumb, doesn't really matter. But just make sure that you're strumming those 2 strings. So if there was a whole load of zeros all on top of each other, on all the strings, it would be like this. That's a strum. And that's used to indicate things called chords or chord boxes, which we will learn about in the next video.